out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business.
TeaV. Everything I say in this video is alleged. It is in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. Hello, YouTube family. It's TeaV. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video, you guys. I'm new to YouTube. Every like and subscribe that I get, it helps me get higher in the algorithm. And I always forget to ask you guys in the front of the video, and I wait till the end and I miss it. So would you please do me a huge favor and like the video and subscribe to the channel? Here we go. Hey, TeaV family. So I'm coming to you today because I wanted to update you guys on the NBCUniversal and the Bravo lawsuit. Brian Friedman and Mark Geragos have filed an update to the previous lawsuit that they submitted to NBCUniversal and Bravo. They're alleging that the companies are issuing non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and their confidentiality agreements, forcing the reality stars to remain quiet about things that are actually in violation of California law, and they're not able to do that. That's considered illegal. So these NDAs should not be able to withstand court. The letter that they issued to NBCUniversal and Bravo is claiming the NDAs violate California law, which prohibits companies from forcing employees to sign NDAs, prohibiting them from disclosing unlawful acts. Say, for instance, they tape someone being intimate and then use that same video for revenge P. So there was a letter issued to the lawyer representing NBCUniversal and Bravo, and I'm going to put a picture of this up, and you guys are able to read that. While you're reading that, I'm going to play for you an interview that Harvey Levin did with Brian Friedman. He's the attorney representing the reality stars.
How many people, first of all, are you representing here? Is it a specific number, a growing number? What are we talking about?
We're talking about right now 10, 15 people that have been interested. I've talked to over 50 people that would like to join. There are going to be hundreds of people that come out because there's hundreds of people that have been exploited. They've been, there's children that have been exploited. There's people with mental illness that have been exploited. There's people exploited based on their race, based on their gender, based on their height, based on their mental illness. They're exploiting people who have mental illness, and they've created and exacerbated that mental illness and filmed around that mental illness, made fun of it, exacerbated it, and then had them go into facilities to help them recover from mental health, only to get them right back on the show and film that. And it's disgusting. It's deplorable. And it's one thing if you're paid for something like that, you understand what you're doing. But when you're paid next to nothing for it, and children are exploited, mental illness is exploited, sexism, racism, all of it, it's not okay. And it's got to stop. While people may sign up to be treated a certain way, what we find time and time again is that they are berated, they're belittled. And it's one thing to put them in that situation and that they know what they're doing. It's another thing to be illegally recording them while they're having sex, distributing that in violation of revenge porn laws. There's one thing about signing up and waiving certain rights. There's another thing about the inability to waive rights that are legal laws that are protected for you. This is so bad that, I'll just show something. This is so bad that this is something I was provided with. If you can read the front of it, and I'll walk up to the camera, it says slave contract, an actual slave contract. Like you're going to be able to have someone sign a slave contract?
Well, that's an actual contract for a show?
That's an actual contract between two people that allows filming and allows other things to happen and to be placed on a show. Certainly, NBC is just a start, and it's just a start. And there's much more. There's a sexiness to being on reality TV. They suck you in, and then they force you in a position to do something or say something, which not only ruins yourself on that show, but it ruins yourself for the rest of your life. And some of these are children. It's not okay, and it's got to stop.
And inside of this interview, this man literally shows us a real example of a contract that a reality star has been forced to sign. And if you look at the top of the contract, it literally says slave contract. Do you hear me? Do you see this? Slave contract. What in the racist hell is this? And who had to sign that? This type of stuff is so offensive and demeaning, and it should be illegal for people to have these things in place. I believe the recognition and the understanding of NDAs came to a extreme high level because of Donald Trump and his use of NDAs with some of the sexual escapades and his unlawful acts that he did that was brought forward when he was president, ran for president during that time. Well, now we're starting to see that in the same manner that he tried to use the NDAs, you now have whole companies. NBCUniversal and Bravo are now being alleged to do the same thing. They're trying to place these people who are, for the most part, normal people. These are not seasoned actresses and actors that understand, the business, that have experience, and lawyers representing them to ensure that they're signing contracts that are legitimate and enforceable by the law. These are just people who wanted to be on TV. So the idea that they're using these type of slave contracts and NDAs to cause harm to the reality stars is just insanity to me. They're also alleging that some of these people were forced to endure racism, sexism, sexual violence, revenge porn, child labor law violations, because some of these reality stars are children, forced intoxication, and psychological, emotional, and physical abuse. They're also claiming that some of these people on these shows have proven mental illnesses, and that they knew of this and put them in situations that caused the mental illness to be either triggered, or they deprived the cast members of a mental health treatment even when they were displaying alarming signs of mental deterioration during filming. So they knew what was happening, and they still deprived these people of help. They're being accused of manufacturing mental instability by forcing the cast members to drink alcohol, just giving them alcohol. Alcohol is everywhere for them to drink, but everybody knows when you're drinking, you have to eat. Okay? You're supposed to eat when you drink, or before you even start drinking, you should have something on your stomach. To just constantly give them alcohol but deprive them of food, they're going to become more intoxicated quickly. And to film that is not fair because their judgment is impaired. And so this is what they're being accused of doing. So I'm interested to see what happens next. And I want to hear what you guys think about this. Give me your comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this. I think this is horrible. I think this is absolutely horrible because you're watching how these companies have taken advantage of these people for such a long time. Reality shows have been going on for a very long time. So personally, I can recall years ago, reality TV coming into play and this possibly being an issue. If you recall, and I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was Real World. Tammy Roman and David off of the Real World, the first Real World season, David had pulled Tammy's blanket off of her and she was naked underneath the blanket. And they did not show nudity, but they did show the scene of it happening. And even that is traumatizing. Like, why did you not edit that out? Why would you go so far as to show that just for ratings? And so I can clearly see how Tammy Roman could join this lawsuit and have a legitimate claim against them, because she probably had no defense against them showing the scene because she had signed something, you know? Also, like, I believe it was back in like 2020, Gabrielle Union and NBC reached the amicable resolution because Gabrielle Union sued NBC over discrimination and misconduct claims while she was on America's Got Talent with Simon Cowell. She alleged in that lawsuit that it was racial discrimination on the show and that their claims about her misconduct were false. And they ended up settling with Gabrielle Union, and likely because Gabrielle Union had the money to sue them legitimately, and then they had to settle with her because she had a real claim. It was the truth. So I just feel like this business is not set up for the little guy. A normal, everyday layman is not prepared to fight these business and these companies because they're giants. They have endless pockets and they have attorneys on payroll to deal with these type of complaints. And so, the little guy just gets buried. So the companies win. It's not till they band together, find some really good attorneys to represent them. Bethany has her own money. So Bethany is not at risk of running out of money, or she's not at risk of, going broke if she tries to sue them. So Bethany's in a very particular position where she can actually fight them back. She can pay for the high-powered attorneys. And that right there is why this is all coming forward. You had to have someone who had enough to fight the company lawyers for this to even rise to the top, for us ever to be aware of what was happening. So kudos to Bethany, kudos to Nene, kudos to Gabrielle Union for calling this out a long time ago. I'm interested to see how many of the housewives, especially the Atlanta housewives, I want to know, being that the Atlanta housewives was one of the best high-ranking shows in that franchise, how many of them are going to be on this lawsuit, and how many of them are going to step up and represent and tell the truth about what happened. If nothing happened, fine. But if something did happen, you can't just sit back and be like, oh, I didn't experience it, I didn't see anything, and turn your head to protect the bag. At some point, you got to stand up for what's right, because there's somebody else coming behind you, and they're going to be treated just as bad if you don't stand up and say something and speak up and change it. So I want to know, we know from Nene's interview that there are people that were in her text that were aware of the racism and were complaining about it. If you're in that text, are you on this lawsuit? And if you're not, why not? I would like to know. Let me know your comments. What do you think about this? I love to read the comments. I love to hear you guys' thoughts and get your feedback. Let me know what you think about this and what you think about what's coming out now with the slave contract. How bizarre is that? Also, like the video, you guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the video. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the comments and all the subscribers. I thank you so very much. I will keep you posted on anything new that comes up on this subject, and I'll talk to you soon.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams.